All right, guys. We got Coach Mac. He'll with a statement, and then we'll go to questions. All right, Coach, all yours.
Okay. First, just it was tough to hear about the passing of Buck Nystrom, who did so much for so many in the coaching profession. Obviously, time in a couple places here in the state of Michigan, and a guy who did a ton for college football. So, we're obviously getting ready to play the conference, which is so important in each game. So much rides on it. Having to open up conference play with a pretty long road trip. We need to do a great job of overcoming some of the things that happen there and go in and play a lot better football than we played last week against a very, very good team that I don't think their record at all indicates where they're at. Down to the wire with, Minnesota played Army, who, is a tough opponent to play, and, got caught against a really good Cincinnati team. And then, easily handled a team very similar to what we did, out of conference against a 1AA opponent in LIU. So these guys play really, really hard. And I think that's a testament to their coach and their coaching staff. They give you a lot of things offensively, that really challenge you. I mean, our front has a huge challenge this week, and we can't let a couple of those guys on defense dictate negative loss, negative plays, and that type of thing. We got to stay on schedule as we move forward. Injury-wise, Matowski, he's probably done for good with that back. McNary will be out with the ankle. No time frame there yet. So Laquan, I'd put him probably questionable. Did some things yesterday. We'll see how it goes today, but we're hoping to get him back and at least get some plays out of him. On the special teams front, Brendan Barker will be out this game. He's played quite a bit on special teams for us, but other than that, that's kind of where we're at as of today. Going into this game, relatively healthy when you think about where we're at in the season. So that's a compliment to the kids taking care of themselves and obviously the strength program as we move forward. On the quarterback front, we'll start Daniel Richardson this week. And Jacob will be ready. In fact, he had a great practice yesterday, as both of them did. So I really like where we're at that position right now. Just feel like, D. Rich deserves it, with his performance last week. And so that'll be, it's a good problem to have. You got two guys that can go in and play, and that's a really good thing. I don't know a lot, obviously, about, I haven't been to Miami of Ohio, not sure about the atmosphere. This will be fun to go kind of see another MAC conference place that I understand is really good facilities and a fun place to play. So looking forward to that. And, they got a lot of faces from the last time we saw them in Detroit. Those guys have grown up and are playing great. I know Gabbert, the quarterback, was a little bit dinged up early in the year, but I've just really been impressed with him on how he handles things. And it's going to be physical, and we'll see if our guys are able to show up and match it. So, questions?
All right, Christian.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you at the cornerback position. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Day Hill going to get his first start, and a
yeah.
couple of other young guys there filling in for McNary. Just confidence level on those guys that they'll be able to go out there and play well on Saturday.
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, and yet, as I said after the game too, I think, and after watching the film, there were a lot of plays other than really one of them where they were in great position. And, just we didn't make plays on the ball. So we're going to get, I think I said after the LSU game, that we're going to see that from here on out. And, just like getting a punt blocked, right? It opens a little can of worms there. So all of a sudden, everybody's breaking down the film. There's things that happen. So those guys are going to get tested throughout the season as we get into MAC play with a lot of those things. Obviously, as I've talked about, the importance of us on defense is forcing teams to earn it, and not just giving up, those one or two chunk things that change field position or change the scoreboard. So, we'll keep working. Obviously, Rolly and Sturkey, Richard Bowens, Elijah Ricard, those guys will all be ready to play at those spots as well, and we'll go in with a rotation, like we do, and. But know this: I've got confidence in those guys. I mean, they prove it during practice, and we just got to go make some of those plays while the ball's in the air during the games.
All right, Jason.
Well, first off, congrats on the first ever win over the Florida team. That's awesome this past week.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right?
I'll say it. I used that, and I gave you, reference on that, just so you know. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Although Rob should have really got it because he's the one that put it in the notes. But I got two for you real fast. You mentioned that last week the tough start that you guys had to the year, obviously playing against SEC teams. But now this is in a way, that fresh start. Conference play starts. Everything is basically a fresh slate. How important is it now to start conference play, get that first win under your belt?
Well, I just think gaining momentum as you go into any conference season is huge. And, for us, we played really well in spurts. And yet we've had lulls, along the way. And, it's time for this football team to put a complete game together. And, it's not going to be easy against, an opponent like this that gives you so many issues. And playing on the road. One of the things we did we just talked about turnovers. We got to take care of the ball on the road. Since we've been here, we've had 26 turnovers. And on the road. And you aren't going to win a lot of games doing that. So for us, I think it really stems back to consistency in performance. And we've got to do a much better job of that.
Right. And then with Miami too, the last time you guys saw them was, like you said, in Detroit. For the guys that were here at that point, how much more does that kind of fuel them to, in a way, get redemption after the way that game ended last time?
Well, here's what's interesting is I was actually going to kind of try to use that a little bit. So I had a show of hands of the guys that played in that game. There ain't many of them. So, that played significant roles. And, a couple of the guys were, on the bus and had a pretty good meal, but didn't play a lot. So, I would hope for some of those older guys that played in the game, would understand the importance of it. And yet this team is so new that, our biggest focus is it's just going out and playing a complete game. I mean, it really it's frustrating because we play great at times, and then we go through those lulls. We've got to get that lull thing taken care of.
All right, Mitch.
Coach, thanks for taking time to talk to us today. I know starting out the gate the season, a 1-2 punch with Kobe and Lewis looked probable, then Kobe went down with the injury.
Yep.
How would you rate Lou so far? The first 4 games as kind of being the bell cow back.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Again, a guy that I think I've said many times before, he seems to kind of get better as the game goes on. You look up, if somebody would have told me he had 150 yards last week, I'd have said, there's no way. It was kind of a quiet 150, from that position. And those 3 guys behind him, we've got to do a great job of keeping him fresh. Luke's and Miles and obviously Step. Those guys, we gotta make sure. I was really happy to see a couple of them make big plays. Miles made a huge play down the stretch for us, and we're going to need that as we move forward from that position. Lou is steady, and we're going to hand him the ball. It's not going to be a secret.
That's
Mac, you mentioned consistency and a complete game. And this might sound like a real elementary question, but you've been at this long enough. How do you get to that point? What do you have to do with the team to get to that point? Is it a matter of just playing, or is it more than that?
Part of it's their psyche. The understanding, that not everything in life goes your way, and how you deal with some disappointments. And look, in a game, there's disappointments, and it's really focusing on, hey, we got to go win the next play. Don't let it sit. And I've seen a little bit of that, especially on offense. We have yet to overcome, where we get a negative play. We've yet to overcome that and move forward. And so those are some of the things I think. How do you work on it? I think you just tell them the truth. You don't hide it, and show where you have been capable of doing that. So it's not the impossible, right? And we just need to get better at doing it. There's just no doubt about it.
all right, guys. What else we got for Mac? Christian.
Yeah, I want to go back to the DBs for a second, just because, like you mentioned, they were in good position, I thought, on Saturday. How do you solve that problem as far as making the play on the ball? Is it just more reps, or do you think it kind of becomes a mental thing where, it's like getting the yips in baseball,
Yeah.
where it's just something that can be so elementary that you kind of almost have to tell yourself you can do it. So I guess just how do you solve that problem?
Well, first thing is you constructively show those reps in all the different angles that we have, right? Then we take that, we work every week fundamentally on playing the ball in the air and how you go about doing it technically. So you break those things down, you show them doing it, right? The anxiety of the ball being in the air at the moment is something you just have to overcome and have some confidence with. And by showing the guys doing it fundamentally correct, I think that gives them a little bit like, oh, I can do this, right? Now it's got to become second nature, which, those are those drills, and that's what we've got to do. The one thing you got to have on the outside, especially at corners, man, you got to have a short memory because you're going to get tested. And some of the greatest corners, DBs of our time, have been beat. It's how you handle that and how you come back, reset, and go win the next play. That's the thing we've got to really focus on. And I think we're doing a great job doing the fundamental piece. Now it's got to show up on Saturdays. Even in the there were 2 plays, but even in the LSU game, I mean, shoot, we had some guys right there, and just didn't finish. So, but again, once you open that can of worms, and you put it out there on film. Every team you're going to play sees it, and so you just got to be prepared that they're going to test it no matter what.
All right, what else, guys?
Mac, I want to ask you about Troy Hairston. I'm working on a feature on him. His emergence coincided with your arrival here. And so, you can take credit for the genius of putting him out there and playing. But, I've interviewed him several times. I've gotten to know him a little bit. How remarkable is he and what he's been able to do at, his size, and his story here is pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you as a coach, you've seen guys, you've coached guys. Where do you put Troy in the category of workers and what he's come from and what he's made of himself?
You wished it was as important to every guy on your team as it is to him. I think part of the story that makes it so good is his ability to overcome maybe what other people's views were and continue to strive to be the best he can be. Now, this is a guy who's built himself in that weight room. He's built the credibility because of what he puts on film, and I'm not talking just in games, in practice, in the weight room, all of those type of things. And really, it makes you feel good as a coach when a lot of the things that you talk about that help being successful and helps you, truly go out and become a champion, and that's not just champion, titles and that kind of stuff, but truly being a champion. This is a guy that's truly a champion, and you can see it when he plays. His effect on the people around him is incredible, and it's a great story, and yet he's earned it, right? He's deserved it through the things that he's had to overcome.
All right, we good, guys? All right.
See you guys. Have fun.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Good luck this weekend.